Welcome to the Psychology and Physical Training channel, 5 Signs of Imposter Syndrome. Have you ever felt like a fraud despite your achievements? Like you're just one step away from being found out, even though you've worked hard and achieved so much? The invisible affliction. Welcome to the perplexing world of imposter syndrome, a psychological phenomenon that quietly haunts many individuals, subtly eroding their self-belief and casting doubt over their accomplishments. This condition is marked by a chronic feeling of self-doubt and a constant fear of being exposed as a fraud, despite clear evidence of competence and success. Surprisingly, imposter syndrome is often found lurking among high achievers, silently gnawing away at their confidence. It doesn't discriminate, affecting people from various professions and walks of life. This invisible affliction can be profoundly debilitating, eroding self-worth and acting as a significant barrier to personal and professional fulfillment. At its core, imposter syndrome is an internal struggle, a battle waged within the confines of one's mind. It's about feeling less than you are, believing that you're not as competent or intelligent as others perceive you to be. It's about attributing your successes to luck or timing, rather than acknowledging the role of your skills and hard work. The effects of imposter syndrome stretch far beyond the individual. It can hinder productivity, stifle creativity, and create a culture of self-doubt and fear in workplaces and institutions. It can prevent talented individuals from reaching their full potential, holding them back with invisible chains of self-doubt and fear. But the good news is, recognizing imposter syndrome is the first step towards overcoming it. Understanding its signs and manifestations can help in devising strategies to combat its effects, to break free from its grip and reclaim your self-perception and career trajectory. Now, let's delve into the 5 hallmark signs of imposter syndrome, starting with the relentless pursuit of perfection. This journey is about understanding, acceptance, and ultimately, empowerment. It's about reclaiming your narrative, owning your achievements, and breaking free from the invisible affliction of imposter syndrome. The pursuit of perfection. Imagine setting impossibly high standards for yourself, standards that are invariably out of reach, despite your successes. This is the reality for individuals grappling with imposter syndrome. They're caught in an unyielding pursuit of perfection, a relentless drive that often leads to considerable anxiety and stress. At the heart of imposter syndrome lies this pursuit of perfection, a relentless desire to achieve, to excel, to outdo oneself, but not in a healthy, motivating way. Instead, these high standards are set so high that they're often unreachable, creating a sense of constant disappointment and perpetuating a vicious cycle of self-doubt and fear of mediocrity. These individuals are not just hard on themselves, they're their own harshest critics. No achievement is ever good enough, no success ever satisfactory. They struggle to internalize their accomplishments, attributing them to external factors, such as luck or timing, rather than their own skills and hard work. This is not a simple case of humility, but a profound inability to accept and acknowledge their own competence. This pursuit of perfection, while admirable to some extent, can lead to a myriad of negative consequences. It can breed intense anxiety and stress, as the fear of not living up to these impossibly high standards looms large. It fuels the imposter syndrome, keeping individuals trapped in a state of chronic self-doubt, constantly questioning their worthiness and fearing exposure as a fraud. Moreover, this relentless drive for perfection can stifle creativity and innovation. When you're constantly striving for perfection, there's little room for risk-taking, for exploring new ideas, for stepping out of your comfort zone. The fear of making a mistake, of not being perfect, can hold you back from reaching your full potential. So how do we break free from this pursuit of perfection? It starts with recognizing and acknowledging that perfection is an illusion, a mirage that keeps us trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and fear. We need to learn to celebrate our achievements, to give ourselves credit where it's due, and to understand that making mistakes is a crucial part of growth and learning. But this is just one aspect. The syndrome also manifests itself as a compulsion to overwork. The overworking compulsion. Imagine feeling the need to work excessively long hours, to prove your worth not just to others but to yourself. This is the overworking compulsion, a common manifestation of imposter syndrome. Individuals grappling with this condition often find themselves in a relentless cycle of overwork, driven by a misguided attempt to compensate for perceived inadequacies. Impostor syndrome whispers insidious doubts into the ears of its victims, making them question their competence and worth. This can lead to a compulsive need to work harder, longer, and more intensely than others. The idea is simple, yet destructive. If I work hard enough, I can prove to myself and others that I am not a fraud, that I truly deserve my achievements. But this is a dangerous fallacy. The reality is that overworking does not prove worthiness. Instead, it often leads to physical and emotional exhaustion. Picture a car running on an empty tank, pushing itself to keep going even when every indicator screams that it's running out of fuel. That's what overworking feels like. It's pushing oneself to the brink of burnout, ignoring the body's pleas for rest and recuperation. And the bitter irony, even after all this overwork, the feeling of being an imposter doesn't go away. It's a relentless hamster wheel that keeps turning, powered by the individual's incessant drive to prove themselves. This can lead to a vicious cycle where the more one works, the more inadequate they feel, pushing them to work even harder, further deepening the feeling of inadequacy. What's worse is that this overcompensation often goes unnoticed. In a society that glorifies the hustle culture, overworking can be seen as a badge of honor, a marker of dedication and commitment. But beneath this facade of productivity and diligence lies a person wrestling with self-doubt, constantly feeling like they're one step away from being exposed as a fraud. The key to breaking this cycle is awareness and acceptance. Recognizing the signs of imposter syndrome and understanding that it's okay to ask for help is a significant step towards overcoming this debilitating condition. While overworking is a common sign, downplaying one's achievements is another key indicator of imposter syndrome. Downplaying achievements. Picture yourself achieving something significant, but instead of celebrating, you attribute your success to anything but your merit. It's a strange concept to grasp, isn't it? Yet, for individuals grappling with imposter syndrome, this is an all too familiar scenario. Despite their clear success, they find themselves downplaying their achievements, attributing their accomplishments to factors beyond their control. Let's consider a scenario. You've just been promoted at work, a clear testament to your skills, dedication, and hard work. Instead of basking in the glory of your achievement, you find yourself thinking, I was just lucky, or it was about time they promoted someone. You might even go as far as to credit your colleagues or subordinates for your success, dismissing your own contribution. This pattern of thought is not only self-defeating, but also hinders personal and professional growth. When you dismiss your achievements as mere luck or timing, you rob yourself of the opportunity to acknowledge your skills and abilities. You're essentially telling yourself, I didn't earn this. And when you believe you haven't earned your success, it becomes easier to believe you're not deserving of future success. This inability to own one's accomplishments is more than just modesty or humility. It's a symptom of a deeper issue, a chronic sense of inadequacy that fuels the imposter syndrome. By attributing your success to external factors, you're reinforcing the erroneous belief that you're not good enough, that you're a fraud waiting to be exposed. It's important to recognize this pattern and challenge it. When you achieve something, take a moment to acknowledge your contribution. Celebrate your success, however small it may seem. Recognize that luck and timing may play a part, but they don't diminish your skills, hard work, or dedication. Remember, it's not bragging to acknowledge your achievements. It's simply recognizing the truth of your capabilities. And in doing so, you'll find that you're more capable than you've ever given yourself credit for. Another defining feature of imposter syndrome is an overwhelming fear of failure. Overcoming fear of failure, but that's a topic for our next scene. Stay tuned! Fear of failure and reluctance to seek help. Imagine being so afraid of failure that you are paralyzed from seizing potential opportunities. This is a stark reality for many grappling with imposter syndrome. An overwhelming fear of failure becomes a defining feature, a grim specter that looms over every decision, every risk, every chance for growth. This fear is not the healthy kind that keeps us on our toes. Rather, it is a debilitating dread that stifles creativity and risk-taking. Picture a world where every misstep feels like a potential unmasking, every mistake a step closer to being exposed as a fraud. This state of constant anxiety is more than just stressful, it's a creativity killer. It inhibits innovation, discourages experimentation, and smothers the spark of original thought. But the fear of failure is not the only obstacle. There's another, equally insidious sign of imposter syndrome, a deep-seated reluctance to seek help. Imagine being so concerned about appearing incompetent or inadequate that you'd rather struggle alone than ask for assistance. This reluctance is not a sign of resilience or independence. On the contrary, it's a self-imposed isolation that amplifies feelings of insufficiency and obstructs progress. It's like being lost in a maze with the exit within sight, but choosing to wander aimlessly because asking for directions feels like an admission of defeat. And it's not just about asking for help, it's about accepting it too. When help is offered, it's often dismissed out of a misguided belief that accepting it would somehow validate the fear of being a fraud. This fear of failure and reluctance to seek help are two sides of the same coin, both stemming from a deep-rooted self-doubt that undermines self-confidence and hampers growth. But here's the good news. Acknowledging these signs is the first step towards overcoming them. Recognizing and addressing these signs of imposter syndrome is crucial to overcoming its grip on your self-perception and career trajectory. By understanding these signs, we can start to dismantle the walls of the prison that is imposter syndrome and step into the light of self-confidence and self-belief. And if you like this video, do not forget to subscribe and follow the Psychology and Physical Training channel for more videos. Thanks for watching.